All right, today I'm gonna be giving you 5 different models of in-ear monitors by the brand SIMGOT. If you guys don't know, if you haven't been around the channel for very long, I love this brand. They sent me 2 different in-ears to test out several months back, and I used them at a camp, you guys may know. I love these. They've been my daily drivers, no pun intended, and now they've sent me 3 others to complete like this top 5 list going into 2024 that will hit on whatever budget you have. They're very budget friendly. The top is somewhere around under $250 at the time of filming this, and the bottom is very budget friendly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score these on 5 different categories so you can see which one would be best for you. We're going to look at price first because that's the most important. We're going to look at the case and the cord and maybe some of the accessories. We're going to talk about the fit and the feel. Then we're going to talk about like the drivers, what's inside of them, how many speakers they have, and then the sound quality. Now, with any test like this, it's hard to come up with an objective standard because you don't have my ears and everything is going to fit and sound different. So I'm just going to try to give you what I feel like is the best synopsis of what they sound like and who I think they would be best for. That way it's easy for you to make your decision. Count this as kind of like a buyer's guide for 2024. All right, let's get in it. All right, so here are our 5 different in-ear monitors. We have the EW100P for $19.99. We have the EW200 for $39.99. We have the EA500s for $79. We have the EM6L for $109.99. And we have the EA1000s coming in at $219.99. They also have an EA2000 that I don't have here. I haven't got to try it yet. Maybe they'll send it to me soon, and it's about $245. All right, second category, we're gonna talk about the case and the cord. On the EW100s, the most budget-friendly ones, we do not have a case other than the box that it came in, which is this kind of flimsy, not too stout cardboard box. So I would not want to use something this big and this flimsy to carry these in. So you're going to need to get a case. The next one up, the EW200s, it doesn't have a case, but it does have this little cinch sack. So it's better than not having anything, but if you're worried about it being crushed, then I would suggest still getting a case. Now, both the EA500s and the EM6L both have the same case, and I love these cases. I wish maybe they had the model number or something to differentiate on the outside, but the way I keep them in my bag, I just keep these both with me in case one breaks down. And I like that they're solid, and they're kind of like this faux leather. They're just zip, they're super simple, and it's really sturdy. Like, I'm not afraid that's gonna get squished in my bag. So I've been a huge fan of these cases. Very good, SIMGOT. And then the most expensive, we have this unique kind of threaded case. It says "Salute to Art and Science" on it, which is kind of cool. And on the front, it says SIMGOT, and it's definitely more substantial. You can put things in there. Yeah, so it's pretty nice. As far as the cord or the cable, this cable is as simple as they come. It's not too sticky and it's not rubber, which is good. It's just 2 cords. There's no little cinch thing either. So that's something to be aware of. Once you put these in your ears, that's gonna affect the fit and feel, which we'll talk about in just a second. Moving on to the next ones up. These do have the little cinch thing. This cable is a big jump in quality. It's got the cinch thing on it, and we have this big, thick, twisted cable here. On the EA500s, it's pretty much the same. It's a twisted cable, it's a different color, but everything is the same. As far as the cinch cable, the quality feels exactly the same. On the EM6Ls, the ones I've been using the most lately, the cable actually feels a little bit smaller. It's still twisted, this is a different color, but the cinch system here is a little bit different. It's round. It's a lot less thick and bulky, and this thing is just this little tube that slides around. I've been using this one a lot recently, and I will say that even though I like this design, it does tend to let go a little easier. It slides a little easier, but I'm constantly tightening it. Even though these have been the ones I've been using a lot, that's one thing that I thought I was gonna like about that cinch cable, but I find that I'm tightening it a little too often. And on the big daddies here, there's a big change in cable. This is the thickest cable of them all. And as far as the cinch mechanism, it's that same thing, except the cable feels thicker. So this feels like it's not sliding as easily, which I'm saying is a good thing. So this will not slide as easy, meaning it'll stay cinched. All right, as far as the fit and the feel, there's basically two main differences between the 5 of these. 2 of these are really light and 3 of them are pretty heavy. And it's because the housing of these 3 here all are metal and they're pretty heavy in the ear. Now, heavy may feel like better quality, and it could be. I noticed that when I had just these 2, one was heavy, one was light, the heavy ones tended to aggravate me, especially when I brought them down and I was just trying to walk. It was just something that they just felt too heavy for me. So I've really been enjoying these lighter ones. These here are super light and they're super tiny. All of these weigh about the same. They're pretty heavy. Now, I don't have a precise scale to measure these, but the most expensive are probably the most heavy because they have the metal housing plus this heavier duty cable. So this is the heaviest of them all. These are lighter and these 2 feel about the same, especially when they're in your ears. They all feel really great, but I will say, for some reason, the EA1000s, every time I put them in my ear, and it just might be my head, my shape, I didn't feel this on any of the other 4, but when I put them in my ears, I felt like this one had a harder time sealing, getting a good seal. Like there was always something in this right ear that I felt like, oh, it made me feel like my ear hole's bigger. Maybe it is. And then I actually looked at them to see if one was smaller, if something was different. The buds are the same, everything's the same. But every time I put them in, I just felt something was off. But once I pushed it in, it would be fine. Now, as far as the drivers, you can go read online. I'm not super technical to know what all the different things are, but basically 4 of these are the same in that they use a 10mm dual magnet, dual cavity technology, but they don't all sound the same. And so I don't know what makes them different. But this one right here, the EM6L, uses 5 drivers. I couldn't see anywhere else where it said the number of drivers. So you can just go do more research on that. It was pretty technical and I don't want to bore you with that. But I think we need to get to the most important thing, and that is how do they sound? So right out of the gate, there's 2 that sounded exactly the same to my ears. Now, I am not an ear professional. I'm not an audiophile necessarily, but I couldn't hardly tell the difference between these 2 right here. The EW200s and the EA500s, they sound basically the same. They both were the loudest of all of these. This one is one of the softest, and so jumping from this one to these 2, the loudness got louder, and I felt like the bass increased maybe a little bit with the EA500s. Then when I went back to the EM6Ls, the volume dropped again. It felt very balanced. Now, when I say flat here, this flat here means lifeless to me. It just felt, after I went back and listened and compared back and forth, this one just felt lifeless. This one didn't feel lifeless, but it felt more balanced, like not as much bass as these 2. And then when I went here, the volume went back up a little bit, but not as loud as these. And the volume again was pretty balanced. I just thought of the word pure to describe it. So I don't know how that translates to you, but that was my experience. All right, so let's answer the last question. Who are these for? Well, I would recommend all of these. None of them sounded bad. These sounded, like I said, the most flat. They are also the cheapest. So I would say anyone who is new, maybe any of your youth who are just wanting to audition, maybe they are a vocalist and they're trying to learn the game. They're just trying to learn what a click even is, how loops even sound. Maybe they don't have a lot of money. Maybe someone would want 2 of these, one to have a backup rather than spend double the money to get this one. So I would just say the beginner. I also have people on my team who are vocalists. They're not beginners at all, but they really don't care. They just want the click as a reference and that's all they really want. I would also tell them, hey, these are the cheapest pair. Go get them and you'll be fine. Between these 2, I would say for vocalists, that added a little bit of bass would help your voice sound rich without getting muddy. They sounded really good. And would I go up to the $80 one? Would I spend double for this? I would say probably not in the sound test that I did. The cables are exactly the same. The weight is about the same, and I could barely tell the difference. If you just need a little more bass, I would say maybe go with the EA500s, but if you really don't care, but you just want something a little more quality than the cheapest ones here, then I would go here. I'm saying vocalists. I'm probably recommending the EW200s over the EA500s, even though when I first put these in, these were the first ones that SIMGOT sent me. I love them. They were better than what I had been using. And now I'm saying, I don't know if I would use those as much. I would save the money and get this and maybe just have a little less bass. Now for you audiophiles out there, or someone who's just looking to get a better quality headphone, I would recommend these for those of you who play bass, play drums. These sealed very well, although this one I had a little struggle with my ear, but I think it might just be the tip. I could change different tips, maybe even get foam tips. These sounded way better than all the other ones as far as like the clarity and the purity. Sound very balanced. So if that's what you're going for, if you want to use them as a reference for like guitar tones, I would suggest these because they're not so bass heavy, but the sound just comes alive when you listen to them. So like I said, I'm recommending these for bass players, keyboard players, drummers, even serious vocalists who just want a more pure, balanced sound. Even those of us who are maybe using them to dial in our guitar tones at home and want them to sound good live. These two were the best quality, the best neutral, overall clear sound without giving you too much bass like these would do. The differences between these two is that they have the same slide cinch cable thing, but the cable on this one is a little bit thicker. With this, you get a better case. You also get these little tuning things, which I haven't done yet. I'm thinking I might make a separate video about this. So you have like 3 different EQ options with these, which is pretty cool. And these are also heavier. So if you want something that's substantial and heavy, you might like this. If you're like, no, I don't like heavy things in my ears, these are the ones I've been using the longest here, the EM6Ls, and they've been doing great. All right, so what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. If you're a worship leader who is looking for a nice, inexpensive pair to get, maybe for your team, maybe surprise them for Christmas, maybe you just want to show appreciation to a couple of your team members, or maybe you just want to have some extra lying around because like last night when I showed up to rehearsal, 2 of my team members forgot their in-ears at home. You can get these for 20 bucks a piece and just have them in your green room or wherever your band meets and say, oh, you forgot your ears, that's okay, I have some. Let me know down in the comments which of these that you think you would want to try out next, which ones you're coming from. I also have more in-ears that are not this brand that I'm going to do another comparison video. If you have some that you've been interested in that you want me to include in that video, I might do like a top 10 or something. Let me know down in the comments what you want me to hear. Maybe I can get a hold of them and include those in like my overall top 10 list. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, share the video with other people you think it would be helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.